Welcome to my channel, Better Monday Fasting. In today's video, I'll be talking about social life in Latin America, more precisely my social life experience in Latin America. I'm conscious that social life, it has a lot of variables to it, so I'm gonna try to stay away from generalities and share my experience. Before getting started, nothing I share in this video or on the channel is medical advice. So always do your own research before making any health-related decisions. So I've been in Latin America for 9 years now, and I lived like near to 8 years, like as a nomad. So I've been to many places. So now I have a pretty good idea of where I was more like happy socially, and where, you know, like having a fulfilling social life was kind of a challenge. So I believe that, I mean, this is a channel more on health, lifestyle, and fasting, but I see socializing as a nutrient, you know, for the soul. And it's very important. Like, since I have a holistic approach to health, I don't see a healthy life without a healthy social life. So it's very important. And when you move out of your own country, or you know, so there are many challenges to. I mean, there are certain things that we don't. Maybe we overlook, you know, when we are from somewhere, but to be able to socialize, I mean, it's like it's a pyramid, you know. I mean, you have on the base of the pyramid, you have the language, then you have the cultural codes. There's a lot of things, and then you have to find the people you get along with and all that. Like, and when you meet them in life, and there are societies that you know, they make their friendship early on, and then they're not open to friendships. And some places where they're always open, some places are more open to people coming from the outside, and some of them they're not. So yeah, there are many factors. There are many factors that influence the social life. So when you move out of your country, you kind of realize all that, you know. It's not as simple as it seems. So I made it to Latin America in 2017. I arrived to Buenos Aires, and since I've been a foreigner my entire life, because my family left Turkey when I was 7, then I had to adapt to Switzerland, the French-speaking part of Switzerland. And then I went to the US. Then I have to learn the language and adapt to the US lifestyle, and learn eventually English and then Spanish. I learned Spanish in the US because I still live in San Diego. Then I went back to Europe for 6 years. Then I made it to Buenos Aires in 2017. And I knew right off the bat that the language was the base of the pyramid. So what I did was might be a little counterintuitive, but I actually alienated myself from the expat communities. I say communities because I speak many languages, so I can hang out with Turkish people, I can hang out with French-speaking people, and I can hang out with English-speaking people. But instead of doing that, I just decided to stick to Spanish, you know, because I knew that if I wanted to, you know, get the most out of my Latin American experience, I had to brush up on my Spanish. I already had a level because of the living in San Diego, but the 6 years I lived in Europe, I kind of forgotten, and I wasn't using it every day. So that's what I did, and so Buenos Aires, it was challenging socially for me. It was. I mean, most of my friends were other Spanish-speaking foreigners, a lot of people from Venezuela, and I mean, it was hard to make a friendship with what they called like porteños, like the people from Buenos Aires, and it was, you know, I started fasting in 2016, and so in 2017 I moved to Buenos Aires, and I stayed until 2018, August 2018, and I was kind of lonely, you know. I was kind of, overall I was kind of lonely, and I didn't know if it was because of, you know, Buenos Aires, the people living there, or the problem was coming from me, because since I had started like fasting, it changed a lot of things, you know, and I was fasting a lot, so it changed a lot of things, how I would perceive the world and all that. And then, you know, I was just like, yeah, man, like is there something wrong with me, the new me, you know? So I was a little bit doubting that I might have changed. But then I went to Mexico, so I embraced the nomadic life, put all my heavy belongings in a storage in Buenos Aires, and went straight to Mérida in Mexico, Yucatan. And, you know, first day I started making really good friends there. So I was just like, oh yeah, it wasn't my fault. And then that was my first time in Mexico, and I had a 6-month visa. And if I'm not mistaken, on that first visit I went to Yucatan, then I went to Oaxaca, and went to Querétaro. Yeah, those are the 3 places I visited the first time. In total I went 6 times to Mexico, and I think I've spent like 3.5 years, and I lived in 23 different cities in Mexico. And Mexico is a good example. Like when I say it's like, you know, I mean, already I think like with social life, I mean, there's like, it's a pyramid, you know, you have language, like I think I said before, I did like 2 takes of that video because there are the technical problems, so I don't want to repeat myself. But it's already, there are a lot of like variables to construct your social life. But then at one point, like you're you know, you're the same guy. So then it's interesting to me that, for example, in Argentina, it was really challenging, the social life, and then when I went to Mexico, it was, you know, it was better. But then, you know, visiting Mexico several times, you know, and living in 23 different cities, I've noticed that, you know, there were some parts of Mexico that were also challenging socially, and some other parts no. So yeah, so I think there's a lot of variables, and most of them they're personal. I mean, it could be that maybe the fact that I spent 11.5 years in San Diego, and most of my friends there, like, they were Mexicans, so maybe I was more accustomed to have a social life with the Mexicans. So when I went from Buenos Aires to Mexico, maybe I was able to connect more easily, or maybe they were maybe they're more accepting of foreigners. I don't know. I mean, there's like a lot of, so that's why I don't want to make generalities, but it's been like changing, like for me, like depending on the place. Some places were very like challenging, and the reason why I'm shooting this video is like there's this guy called Andrew, Medellin Buzz, and I just put a comment under one of his videos. I think the video is called "Why Foreigners Are Leaving Medellin" or something like that. And because I was very close to establish myself in Medellin, I was super close to establish myself there, and I visited for a total of 6 times Medellin, and I think I spent like 10 months total. And it was when I had already spent 8 months that I was like hesitating between Medellin, Panama, Asuncion, or somewhere in Mexico, like to stop the quit the nomadic life and become a sedentary person. And at one point, I realized that in Medellin, you know, even though like the paisas, they're very easy to talk to. They're nice. You can have like great conversations. They're very very well educated. I mean, it's maybe the place where I never met that many people that they knew exactly. I don't know how to put it, but they had the correct idea of Turkey. You know, they weren't mixing it up with some Arabic countries. They weren't like. Yeah, they had the accurate idea, and I lived in Europe, and it's very frustrating. The Europeans, I think conveniently, they always put us in the Middle East, like bag. They tend to forget that we run like a good part of Europe for like 600 years, and they always put you, and they're like, oh, but you're from, like they don't give you your place as like an old empire like France, Italy, or Portugal, but they rather put you like with other like Northern African countries or like Arabic countries, like in the same like bag. But in Colombia, no, like people they knew the difference, and they knew. I mean, the people I've met, like I'm not going to say everybody, but they knew. They would share some information about. Turkey, that I was just blown away. I was like, how do you know that? It's like very specific information. So all that to say that, they seem pretty open to the world, and also like the chit chat is okay. But I've come to the realization that I didn't have any real friendships like in Medellin, even though I had spent like 10 months. In my neighborhood, they will call me by my name, Ali, like my hairdresser will keep like if the FedEx could not find me, she'll keep the stuff for me. Like I felt like really like kind of integrated, and accepted. But then I was just like, wait a minute, like everybody that I know, that I have good chats with, there's always a transaction. There's always either I'm riding a Uber or I'm having a coffee, or things like that. And even though I'll have sometimes like a amazing conversation for 20 minutes, it never goes like to the next level. Like it never goes like, hey, you want to have coffee, or hey, you want to come over? Nobody never invited me to their house, and it's the culture over there. Like I accepted, but I'm the same guy. So it's like I'm the same guy. So why it works, better socially in one place, and even though I know Spanish, I've been around Latin America and all that, it can still be a challenge in certain places. And that brings me to say that if you're planning on coming to Latin America, I mean, first of all, you have to learn Spanish. You have to learn Spanish, you have to be fluent, because if you don't have that, I think it's gonna suck pretty much everywhere you go, like socially. But my point is that even if you know Spanish, even if like myself, like physically you look, maybe closer to the majority of the people living there, even though, yeah, you've been around and you're nice, you're a social person and stuff. I mean, some places it's just not gonna happen. So that's why I think I was like blessed that I had this like nomadic experience, because I could go from one place to another and see where I fit better. And one of the main reasons why I didn't choose to establish myself in Medellin, it was like at one point I come to the realization, I went post honeymoon period, I was just like, man, here for 2 years, you're gonna have the time of your life, but then you're gonna be depressed. Because, you know, I mean, the city is great over there, you know, always the perfect temperature, perfect coffee, women are beautiful, you know, and great restaurants. I mean, you have access to, I mean, I'm kind of picky with the products I buy, you know, I try to buy things that are more like healthy and they don't have additives, things like that. And over there you can find anything you want because there are so many expats and all that. And then so the market for niche products is very developed. But I come to the conclusion that I'll be depressed after 2 years because I will never make that connection, deep connection. And whereas in Paraguay, for some reason, it's that connection is very easy. Like people are very genuine socially. I mean, at least from my perspective. And that was like not the only point that made me choose Paraguay, but one of the main reasons. And up to that point, actually, I had like a prejudice against Paraguay before, you know, experiencing it myself, because in Argentina, I didn't have a good social experience. In Uruguay, I didn't have a good social experience. And in the back of my mind, I was just like, oh, Paraguay, probably it's more or less the same thing. And I had this theory that, and it's still somehow true, is that, I mean, again, I don't want to make generalities, but places where the indigenous population is like dominant in Latin America, I have better time. I'm more accepted for some reason. I feel like that way. So in Mexico, it was like that. Most of part of the Mexico, and even within Mexico, like in Oaxaca and Sinaloa, for some reason I had the best social experience. Also in Sonora and Ciudad de Mexico. But there are certain places like real close to the border, those border towns that were kind of cold. Querétaro, it was also, I had really good social interactions, but people were like a little bit more like close maybe. It took more effort, but once you made the connection, it was good. Pretty much everywhere in Mexico was good, but certain places it was a little bit more challenging to break the ice. And so yeah, that was like a big deciding point for me to choose Paraguay, because in Paraguay it's like first of all, nothing to do with Argentina or Uruguay, nothing to do. Even though a part of the population, they're also like descendants of Italians, and maybe it might be similar, like in terms of ethnicity, but in terms of culture, nothing to do. On top of that, it's not polarized. It's not polarized, and people don't seem to have an agenda when they meet you. It's very genuine. And maybe it's still very tranquil in a way. I'm not saying life is easy here, far from that, but maybe it's not as competitive. Like a place like Colombia, like even a person begging. I mean, I've seen like street artists, and you know, I've seen people like juggling with machetes. They're on on a ladder at the red light. So they're on the ladder, and they're staying, like they create equilibrium by like moving left and right on the ladder at the red light, so the cars they can see, you know, and then they juggle with machetes. It's like, and they time everything right. And so then when they're done with their show, they go and ask for money for their show. So that's the level of begging in Colombia. Like you gotta, it's not, if you're like, hey, just give me money, nobody's gonna give you money, So it's more like competitive in a way. And I think in Paraguay, it's a little bit more, I'm not saying life is easy, but it's a little bit less competition at all levels. Also for business and all that. Like if you have a business idea, I think it's going to be way more easy here than in Mexico or Colombia, because it's like it's still, everything is new, you know, everything is still open. So yeah, so like being a nomad really helped me to, you know, fine tune the place that will be perfect for me. So the idea is like, you know, it's kind of complicated. Like, you know, even if you, I mean, you got to learn Spanish. That's like that's the base of the pyramid. If you want to have a good social life in Latin America, and not only be with other expats of your country of origin. Language is very important, but it's not it. Like then you gotta, I mean, you gotta be in a place where people are kind of open to foreigners. I mean, that's another problem too. Like when you're, when you're a foreigner from the West, and you have like, for you it's normal, you know, you're just like trying to recreate more or less the lifestyle you had back home. But depending on where you are in Latin America, that's like that could be a luxury lifestyle, you know. So that's also something that factor that can make things challenging, because you perceive yourself, you know, at a certain social economic level, but maybe in that country, people that can hang with you, they're like the millionaires of that place, you know, and maybe you are not, or you don't perceive yourself as a person like that, and maybe you don't have the social skills to hang out with millionaires. But it's just that, I mean, you know, in Colombia, I think the minimum wage is like $250, $300. So, you know, if you're from the US and you make, you know, $3,000, I mean, it doesn't make you, I mean, it might even be challenging for you to make it happen in the US with that money. But in Colombia, you're rich, you know, it's like you're like in the high percentage of the Colombian society with that money. So you cannot, you know, if you want to hang out with, yeah, I'm in the street with all, that's a problem in Asuncion, like the aggressive dogs. So if you try to hang out with, say, I don't know, you're an engineer or you're a software developer, and like that's your scene, and you want to hang out with those people, well, it's just that economically it's gonna be different. So it all depends like how open-minded they are to, like, not to make you feel different, and how open-minded you are. So friendship can happen, you know. It's like that's also like, I mean, it's social skills. I mean, you know, when I hang out with wealthy people, I never, you know, try to make them feel like, you know, like I'm never gonna say something or frame something in the, like, oh yeah, but for you it's easy, or oh yeah, but you can do it, I cannot. You know, it's just that, you know, you're lucky to talk to that person, and you're like, so you try to hang. But then if you're like, hey, we're gonna play polo, you wanna come? Like, yeah, that's probably not gonna happen. So it's yeah, once you're economically on a different level with the people you want to socialize with, it's like it can be a challenge, and that's going to happen. I mean, if you still have your Western means in Latin America, that's going to happen a lot. That's going to happen a lot, and it's a challenge that that can be overcome, but you got to be skilled and you got to be aware, and also, especially like if you date, that's something you got to be careful, because you're dating, so it's like you're okay, it's my girlfriend, but it's different because of that whole social economic thing. So you got to be careful that you're not taking advantage of. You got to be careful that to be sensitive that they might have a different reality than yours. And yeah, so to wrap it up, it's like it's not easy having a social life when you come from the West in Latin America. It takes a lot of dedication. I mean, you have to learn the language, to be sensitive to those things, and then accept the fact that sometimes, because like I really wanted to live in Medellin, I was just like, why it's so complicated, and then I had like different theories about it. Like, I mean, first of all, there's a trust issue in Colombia, even among them, So there's this like clan mentality, because, for example, if they want to go out and drink, they watch out for themselves. So they group up, and now they're a clan, and then so oftentimes when you want to make friends, they're like. You kind of need to be accepted in that clan, and the closest I came to that was I was going to a CrossFit gym. So I was going there, train with the guys and the girls, and sometimes I will go train by myself. And after a while, and there were some couple of girls like I'll talk to and all that. But one day I'll be training, and there was a guy he was like, "Oh yeah, you're Ali, right?" No. So they already knew. They already knew that I existed, and I will come there, and it was great. Like that's the closest I got to have friends and a social circle in Colombia with Colombians, because we had a common interest, and I will go there on a regular basis without having to schedule something. I'll go there, and then that gave the opportunity for them to observe me. They're like, okay, this guy. And then sometimes I will play soccer with the kids, and it was a pet-friendly place. Although I've been attacked twice by their pet. I will also be nice to the pets and stuff. So I think little by little they were like, oh yeah, this foreigner guy is like, could be a fit, and maybe eventually if I'd stayed there, maybe then they'll accept me, Eventually, they had already accepted me as a customer, in the gym, but I was sensing that there was something maybe more could happen. So there's that aspect. If we're like focusing on Colombia, and the other aspect is like it's like the Maslow's pyramid, and so maybe you as a foreigner that has a certain amount of means, you're not at the same level of that pyramid than the other people around you. So when you think about it, like if you and I, or like somebody, you go with a friend, you go have coffee. So when you analyze it, it means that the two people going to have coffee together, well, they have all their basic needs taken care of, and they're generating enough money so that now they can have an extra hour or two where they're not going to be generating anything to have coffee together. So when you think about it that way, it's kind of a luxury, So you're going to be hanging out for 2 hours and not make any money. And so when you compare that to a person that is in survival mode, they wake up and all the awakened hours are going to be to make money. So that person is only going to be seeking opportunities, So if you interact with them, I mean, it's going to be very difficult for them to just be your friend for the sake of being your friend. So, so they're either going to try to sell you something or date you to, so you can be, maybe a source of income for them, or you can invite them to, and you cannot blame them for that. So it's a reality. So then you got to that's where you got to kind of, in order to have a healthy social life in countries where you culturally you fit at you see yourself at a social level, but then economically you are at another level, then either you need to match your purse's worth with the other people, so you're gonna have to in a way date up, hang out with the people considered rich in that country, or both parties, they have to be kind of understanding of the other person's reality and adapt, and so it makes it so it's not easy. But that said, I made amazing friendships in Latin America, especially when I was with my musician hat touring Latin America. I mean, music it's really a good icebreaker, and it gives you the opportunity to socialize in different ways. So I even done some I will play as a street musician, so that gave me an opportunity to meet a lot of people of all ranges. But then when you play shows, legitimate shows, you meet people are helping you out, other musicians, other people involved in arts, like a restaurant and coffee and venue owners and all that, and also I have to say that my Airbnb hosts in certain areas they become friends, because you go there often. And also one thing also I did to have a good social life, because I've been a nomad for 8 years, so I could have done the world tour, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, but that wasn't so I stayed mostly in Latin America, and I will go to the same places over and over again, so people still remembered me, and I can develop my social life that way. Because also, you have to put yourself in the shoes of the locals, you make a great friendship and stuff, and then you go and you'll never come back, So that's also they invested all this time in friendship with you, and now you're gone. And then if that happens to them a lot, they're going to be, in their brain it's going to go foreigner equals, he'll be gone one day. So that's why I will go back to the same places, like Querétaro I went 7 times, Mazatlan I was 6 times, Culiacan twice, Oaxaca twice, Chile, Santiago de Chile twice, Buenos Aires more than 10 times. It was kind of my hub back then. So and it's great, when you go back, so you're maybe not discovering a new place, but to catch up with friends and see their evolution. And also, since I was sharing the message of fasting, and some of them they adopted a fasting, so see their progress and all that. So that was very fulfilling for me. So that was a little video that I got inspired by. That there was that post, why the foreigners are leaving Medellin or something like that. And I just shared like what I shared in this video with Medellin, my experience with Medellin and the fact that I was a nomad. So sharing my social challenges there, I think it maybe shed some light on, because if I was having a terrible time all over Latin America with my social life, then it will be my fault. But sharing like my point of view, that I was like, even though I knew Spanish, even though I've been here for 9 years, even though that like in many places things worked out for me and were still challenging in Medellin at a deeper level. I mean, on the superficial level, chit chat, all that, it's a great place. No complaints. They're really nice, and probably maybe the more open people in Colombia could be. Even though I haven't been to other places, but from what I'm understanding. But still, like you know, if you're looking for something deeper, still challenging. So I shared my experience in a post, and then yeah, I got like over 100 likes. I think I'm the top comment on that video, and a lot of people they were asking me. I mean, we all had like they had some hypotheses, and also a lot of people asking me about Paraguay. Why that Paraguay? It's more socially open, or it works better for me, and then Medellin. I mean, there's, like I said, I mean, there are a lot of variables, and I can totally see that, for example, somebody that has my level of Spanish has spent the same amount of time in Latin America, going to all those places and still having a different experience. It's totally possible. And because also like who you are, or who people think that you are, what you project, it has such a, it's kind of unfortunate, but it has its importance, you know. It's like if you're you know, your hair color, your gender, your nationality. For example, in Latin America, it's kind of hard to tell all my life story, you know, like the fact that I have a dual citizenship, the fact that I lived in the US for over a decade, so I cannot tell all that. So when people say, where are you from? I usually say Turkey, you know. And in Latin America, it's a great icebreaker, because a lot of people are hooked on the Turkish series, and right there it connects well. Usually it connects well, and then I think also there's you know, they don't perceive you as a fool like Westerner. You know, they're kind of conscious that maybe where you come from originally, you're experiencing the same kind of problems that they do with life. So maybe the power dynamic is more like equal, eye to eye. It could be. But then I also get often like those questions. It switches really fast to religion, you know, like, hey, but what percentage of Turkey is Muslim and all that? Thanks to the whole like propaganda and the Western media, like yeah, it's really like for us, like the Muslims living in the West. I think it's a huge handicap, and it's really unfair. Now we are, you know, more I'm investigating on the things that made the bad rep for the Muslims, and like now, a lot of them they were like Muslims weren't behind, you know. It's like that's what we are discovering, you know, with that saying directly the names, like with the towers falling and things exploding and stuff. I mean, it's another community that seemed to be behind all that. But you have to live with that because your regular people, like, since the media is owned by certain groups and all that, so they're brainwashed that way, and they see you like the other. So like, yeah, all that to say that, yeah, the Turkish card is also it's a good icebreaker, but it can also be something that puts you in the category of to being in the, like, more foreign to certain people. But overall, I've only experienced like racism in Latin America, in Buenos Aires, like really like straight up like racism. And it wasn't until I tried to rent my own place. Because going to Argentina from Switzerland, I was just like, wow, this place is like 10 times less racist. And it is, like, it's really, it has like, compared to Europe, it's really chill. But then when I started to get out of the Airbnb circuit and get my own place, it was brutal. And back then there was like some attacks in Europe and stuff. And I think people paranoia, you know. So you come, your name is Ali and stuff, and they're just like, so. But it was difficult. But also in Buenos Aires, if you look, you know, the real estate, who owns the real estate and all that, like the communities. I mean, there are two communities. I mean, one of them they usually don't like Turkish people, and the other one they don't like Muslim. So it could be that too. But it was really, to the point where I was just like, you know what, you know, I don't want to work with you guys. Like, it happened to me a couple of times in a row. And the third guy who accepted me, he was like, he was also very paranoid, and he was just a bad guy. Like, he was like taking advantage of me, and like with like fake electricity bills, and like horrible experience. But then when I started like traveling in Latin America, then I noticed that. So I think Buenos Aires is like 10 times less racist than Europe, and then other places in Latin America are 10 times less racist than Buenos Aires, you know. And in Paraguay, it feels like it's like zero. Like, they don't have that concept. Because I had when I applied for my paperwork, I had because of my dual citizenship, it got delayed. I mean, they just mess up something and they didn't call us, and so it got delayed like for a total of 4.5 months extra. And during that time, I was kind of paranoid, you know. I was just like, it's because, you know, I have a Turkish name, like again, like it's gonna be following me my entire life, this whole thing. And everybody was telling me, you know, like, here, no, it's just that they're not professional or something. They made a mistake. It cannot. There's no racism in Paraguay. And now I'm convinced. I mean, yeah, I think it's like maybe the less racist place in the entire world. It could be because now that I've been here for 2 years and everything, I'm sure there are people there. They're maybe prejudiced or something. I mean, it's like, it's a part of human nature, you know. But now I'm convinced that it's very. The emphasis is not on that, and they're very. Yeah, like, everybody can have their religion. I mean, it's like a strongly Catholic place. I mean, you're very like in minority. Even there are a lot of people from Syria and Lebanon, but I think they're Christians. So as a Muslim, yeah, I think you're super minority here. But yeah, so far, like zero problem. So even with the Europeans I've met so far, I was kind of paranoid. Like first time I've met like French people and stuff, because I know the dynamics in France, and I know that part of some French people escaping over there, it could be from that Arabic Muslim immigration, and a guy like me like also escaping from that racist prejudice, and all of a sudden we meet here, we try to escape from each other. I mean, I'm talking about labels like generalities, but so it could be a little like, hey, I was trying to escape from you, and the next thing you know that you meet the guy is named Ali. It could be, but so far never not sensed anything like that. So which is great, which makes it Paraguay even like a better place for me, because it's like it acts like a filter. It acts like a filter. There's no, like, people here, like the foreigners, like they have more of a like a profile of willing to build something. I mean, they don't come to party, like they don't come to party. It's far away from everything. There's no like a touristic attraction really, but a great lifestyle. So that's for that. Like I went on some tangents, but to wrap it up, yes, social life is very important. It's a nutrient. It's a nutrient for the soul, and is as important as eating like healthy, I think. And if you're planning to go to Latin America, and you don't want to only stick with like expats, keep in mind that there's work. I mean, you got to learn Spanish, and once you learn Spanish, it might not be enough. So that's for the video, and my outlets are I'm a fasting coach, so you can book some fasting consultation with me about fasting, but also other topics like it could be expatriation to Latin America. I also have a product called Fasting Electrolytes, sold in the US, but if you can get it shipped from, you have an address in the US, or there are companies who are doing that, you can get it shipped to where you live. There's that, and then so it's called, my brand is called Youth Light. The product is called Fasting Electrolytes. We also have a store on Amazon. You can purchase it from Amazon or from our Shopify store. I'm a musician. My current band, and that I'm the sole member, it's called Black Sea Storm. My music is present on all the platforms, major streaming platforms, so you can listen to my music. And also, since I've been, for the past year or so almost, since last March, I got into real estate here. So investing in real estate with the idea of being financially independent in Paraguay, not always depending on the outside. And so I've learned quite a bit about that too. So if you're interested in investing here, so you can be interested in moving here and investing in real estate, or you can also own here without living here. So they have a great system where you can generate some money. You got to take some risk, but can generate some money with real estate. And yeah, I can be a help with that. I'm not a real estate agent, or I'm not a professional, but since I've been investing in real estate that I'd like to rent at one point and sell my properties to make a profit and reinvest and all that. So I already see it as a business, even though like I have 4 investments and they're all being constructed right now. because that's how you get the best rates, you know. So you buy on plan, so you take a little bit of risk, but that's how you get the best prices. So I can maybe help you with that as well. So thank you for watching. It's getting dark here, and I'll see you in the next video.